welcome to another fun-filled episode of the Maddfuzzy Podcast. As always, I am your sock-obsessed host, Marta, and I'm coming to you from Maine. So, welcome to the podcast. This is a little podcast about my knitting life. I talk to you about all the shenanigans I'm up to here in Maine, as well as my 100% Maine-sourced, dyed, milled sock yarn and DK weight yarn that I produce, which is Maddfuzzy. So if you are ever interested in the yarn, check it out. It's over on Etsy. You can always check out the podcast on Instagram as well as a Ravelry group. So go ahead over there and join that. If you ever feel like emailing the podcast, give me an email. That's maddfuzzy@gmail.com. So I hope you can check us out in all those places. If you're new, welcome. Hi. It's so nice to see you. If you're a returning viewer, it's so great to see you guys. Holy cow, it's been a while, and I have been adventuring all over and having a great time on vacation and coming back and getting into Fiber Frolic. So yes, I will be at Fiber Frolic. Let me scoot back here. There we go. I've got my room all set up. Did that before I went on vacation, so I think this is going to be the setup from here on out. This is nice. I'm not on the floor, I'm on my bed. So that's good. But yeah, welcome back. It's good to see you all. So I've been getting up to a lot. This is going to be kind of a big episode filled with lots of knitting, a lot of acquisitions. I may have gone a little crazy in Montana. Not sorry at all. I got some great stuff. So I'm excited to share that with you. There was the whole vacation, so I was, on airplanes, and then I was on trains, and then I was in a car, so I got a lot of knitting done. So there's some really fun things to show you. But I'm going to kick this off by talking about the ongoing cal we have. Yes, Maddfuzzy has an ongoing cal. It is a year-long cal because, I think we need a whole year to truly appreciate the wonder and magic that is Skeindeer Knits. You know I love her. You know I'm obsessed. I made an entire cal for this. However, I said I was going to do quarterly prizes, and the first quarter has gone by, so I have drawn prizes from the finished object spread. So I looked in there. There are 2 entries. So to give those 2 people a big round of applause and to say thank you for breaking the ice, I'm going to give each of them a prize. So they are eclairs. So if you're eclairs, I'm going to put them down here so you can see them. Sometimes screen names are broken up a little weird. So eclairs, she knit the spoonie mitts. They were gorgeous. Well done. And then Bork P, you knit the siren mitts, and those were gorgeous. So thank you very much, both of you, for entering into the cal, for knitting along. I'm going to send you each a Maddfuzzy mitten kit. So that's the one that has the colored and the white yarn. So if you want to go on my Etsy shop and look at the colors I have, let me know which ones you want. Direct message me either on Instagram, email, Ravelry, however you choose to get in contact with me. You're a winner, baby. So yeah, let me get those sent out to you. And thank you everyone else who's currently still knitting along. There are plenty of more prizes to go out. We will be doing our second quarter coming up. So because you did win the first quarter, you're not eligible in the second unless you knit something new. But you are always eligible for the grand prize. So get those finished objects in there. We'll have more great prizes for the second quarter as well as the big grand prize and the big grand prize. I haven't knit any Skeindeer. So everything I'm going to show you is not Skeindeer. I've just been cranking out socks because I'm in a car and on vacation. And what goes well with vacation? Socks. Yeah. So keep up the good work, people. Keep knitting those Skeindeer patterns. Keep putting them in the finished objects thread. And if you are one of those prize winners, get in touch with me. I am so excited to send you these prizes. So, yeah. Let's dive right into my knitting. I think that's all I really wanted to say. Yeah. So let's dive in with the knitting. I have a little bit. It's all right on the bed here next to me. Hold on a second. So let's start with something you've seen. I'm going to warn you, in the whole life change and moving thing, somehow I have lost my sock blockers. I have my like men's sized ones, but I'm not knitting very many men's socks right now. But I've lost the ones that are for me. So please bear with me while I go through this life change and hopefully purchase or hunt down sock blockers. But today, for the sake of this podcast, I will just be holding them up the best of my abilities. So you remember my Christmas elf sock with the Vanilla's the new black heel. I had one of these done a while ago. I'm not sure how far I was on this one, but I am at the toady creases. I might just sit down tonight and finish this up. I actually am at the toady creases on a lot of socks. So I should finish them up and get these done and get them cast off, and they will be my Christmas socks for next year. Yeah, so you've seen them. You know, this is West Yorkshire Spinners in their holiday colorway. Not the Fairy Lights one, because I may have just bought that. You'll see in acquisitions. I had a lot of fun. So West Yorkshire Spinners in some holiday colorway. I did the Vanilla is the new black heel. It's a paid for pattern. It is a gorgeous sunny day today, but we've had just so much wind that it's just like icky to be outside because it is blowing. But the sun is so nice, and I've got great light in this room, like 2 big windows, and I got 2 more big windows over there. So I left the ring light in the closet and set up in front of these windows, and I'm pretty happy. So let's hope my light stays. But if everything seems a little bit more au naturel, it is. This is real-time light. Yeah. Those socks. Sorry, I have a piece of fuzz on my face. All right. Now into the stuffs. So, you guys remember my little mushroom bag? Heath gave this to me for Christmas, but while I was in Montana, I got a couple more enamel pins for it. I was at a thrift store, and I found one that says, I'll get close enough so you can see it. There's a glare. This one says Montana. This one is 200 Club, and then I got this little flying bear thing, and it goes with my Angry Brock Sampson pin. So, look at me. I'm collecting enamel pins. Hot dog. So, in this bag, and this right here, I always forget to mention my bags. This is actually from 3 Bags Full. She's on Etsy. It's 3bagsfull.etsy.com. She does a great job, and she's usually at all the fiber things around Maine. I know she does spa and things like that. So they're really high quality bags. They're definitely interface. I love this bag. I'm definitely going to get another one. But with me and project bags, I have to like connect with that print and be like, oh my God, I can't live without this bag. If it's just an okay print, I usually don't bite. All right. So I had given my friend Ashley a pair of socks for Christmas, and by pair of socks I mean simply the ball of yarn with a promise and a song in my heart. And I finished one. So she has this one. We've been sitting and watching RuPaul's Drag Race. Season 11 just started. We're pretty excited. And I've been working on this for her. And then when I was in Montana, I got pretty far on the other one. So I'm actually at the toady creases on this sock as well. So that's 2 that just need to be finished up tonight. And they'll be ready to be worn. If you are paying attention, you'll have noticed that I have made a large mistake. So, the yarn in this sock is Regia Perfect. They are to produce 2 identical socks. Yeah? Someone didn't pull out to the end of the yellow string. And I realized my huge error, because I never do yarn management. All I ever do is just stop one and pick up the next one. So my socks are never twins, except for the Perfects, because they're designed to be. I mean, they're kind of idiot-proof. But, it's good to be an idiot. So I was knitting along and I came to the yellow. And I oh God. And Ashley's sitting right here, and I go, Ashley, I didn't pull it out to the yellow. And I hate ribbing. I hate ribbing so much. And it was just so much yarn management, and I would have to, so I looked at her, I was like, do you mind the yellow? And she was like, it's the only yellow. And she goes, wait, are these my socks? And I was like, yeah. She goes, oh, I don't care. Leave it in. So she has one yellow stripe, and she will forever be able to tell which one is her right and left foot or whatnot. I don't know. So I'm almost done with them. Hopefully nothing bad happens. I mean, right? This could be like the first sign of the apocalypse. The yellow stripe. No. And also, I've never actually talked about what I was knitting these on. I sometimes blow through things. The joys of not writing show notes. So for Christmas, I got a pair of signature needles. And this is a size 1, so they're 2.5s. And if you've heard of signatures and you've ever gone on their website, they are not inexpensive needles. These are $45 needles. And they seem like the perfect thing to put on a Christmas wish list, because I'm like, the $10 for Chow Goose is pushing it. So I would not be spending $45 on a pair of needles unless they, like, I don't know, cast on themselves. So my mom got them for me for Christmas, and they're really well made. They're really nice needles. I don't think I would pay 45 of my hard-earned dollars for them, and I might put another one on my Christmas list and get a whole set that way over like my next millennia. But they are nice. They are really nice. They're definitely, they are definitely better than the $10 needles, but not better enough to justify the price increase as far as my personal opinion and my finances. Remember, I'm rather impoverished. Farm labor. There's not a lot of money in it. But I do eat a lot of really good food, so I'll buy the cheaper needles and enjoy these for Christmas. Yeah, so I just thought I'd point those out. I haven't talked about them, I don't think, before. So, yeah, those are those socks. So I've been flying out to Montana, right? And you hear always about TSA. And, some people are like, oh, they're going to take your needles. And some people are like, I've never had a problem before. And I've never had a problem before. But I'm a paranoid person. And when it comes to people in uniforms and, like, getting to my travel destination, I get a little worked up and a little paranoid. So I went ahead and sent a lot of my projects that had metal needles to Montana ahead of me and took on the plane new projects or projects that had wooden needles. So I brought my shawl that had my royal needles, and those are the wood bodies with a metal tip, and they were on a thick needle. I thought that wasn't going to be a problem. And then I brought my carbons because I have flown with carbons before and not had a problem. So I had to bring a new project as well. Which is, I gotta tell you this. So I'm in TSA, and I packed myself a bunch of snacks. I'm going with my friend Brittany. She has celiac disease, so sometimes the option to eat easy and convenient is just not possible because it'll make her sick. So I packed a bunch of snacks, and we get to Boston Airport, and I go one way for all the gates, and I go through the big TSA. They have one big TSA area, and they pull my backpack aside. I'm like, oh no, not the needles. They're going after my knitting needles. I know it. I have like 3 projects in this bag. There are like 6 sharp pointy objects. They've got to be zeroing in on that. No, it's the snacks. They took all the snacks out of the bag, and they wiped every single one of them down, and they tested them for bomb residue, and they put all my snacks back in and sent me away. Nothing to do with knitting needles. So we're in the airport, and we're looking for our gate, and they only go to 40, and we are 41. So I go to some guy, I'm like, where is this gate? Like, the numbers stop. It's like platform 9 3/4 here. Where is gate 41? He goes, oh no, that's in the other side of the airport. Apparently Alaskan Airlines has their own little TSA world and their own little gate area. So we had to exit the airport, go over, and go back through a smaller, much smaller, thankfully, TSA specifically for the like 2 flights that were leaving on Alaskan. We could have skipped all of that shenanigans, but no, we had to do it. We had to do it again. I need to read better. So we get through that one, right? And they pull me aside and they say, can we look in your bag? Sure. Is it the snacks? Yes. There was the snacks. They checked them again. They wipe every single one of them down. They put them all through the machine. I mean, I had like 2 bags of beef jerky, 2 bags of chips, like 56 granola bars. They're checking every single one. Nothing to do with the knitting needles. So yes, both gates at the Boston Logan Airport, they're very consistent on what they're looking for. Fast forward, we're in Seattle. Same snacks. The next day, we spent 24 hours in Seattle, and we flew to Helena, Montana. Same number of snacks, same backpack, same projects. I get in, I get completely through TSA, no problem. Nobody in Seattle cares about the snacks. What are they doing? And nobody cares about the knitting either, apparently. Yeah, so sorry. That was a huge tangent about TSA, but seriously, man. The snacks. They were unopened. Yeah. Well, at least I got to keep my needles and my knitting. And I got a bunch done. So while I was on the airplane and driving down to Boston, because we don't live close to Boston. I mean, we live close to Boston, but we're not like just outside. Oh, I heard the dog at the door. I closed the door so we wouldn't have an invasion of golden retriever this time. I think they wanted. They hear me in here. I hear them against the door. It's Opal. She has bells on her collar, so I know. She's yelling. Oh, she's gone away. Okay, we can get back to what we're doing. So I cast this on the drive down to Boston. It's about a 3-hour drive. And then I worked on it on the plane and so on and so forth. So this is my newest sock, and it is actually a hoe. So this is the first one. This is online. It is one of my favorite commercial sock yarn companies. They put a little, what is it called? Viscose or something like that. It's a plant matter, like almost like cotton. So it's like nylon, this, and wool. Whereas Regia is just nylon and wool. There's like a plant-based something in this yarn, which I like. I do. I really do like this yarn a lot. It's one of my favorites. They always have fun colors. This one's kind of different parts of it. As I was knitting it, you know, Diane really, I went with her to lunch before I left because we were leaving the day before and staying in Portland and then driving to Boston the next morning. So I was hanging out with her and she was really interested in it, and they really are her colors. So these are actually for Diane, the magical and wonderful woman who gave me a place to live and is a huge Maddfuzzy fan. So she gets her first pair of hand knit socks. And I'm actually through the ribbing on the next one. And these are my Carbons. I really loved Carbon when they were double points, but then you add the really crummy cable to them and they're not as much fun. I really am loving Chow Goos. That's my personal opinion. I can't get enough of that cable on the Chow Goo. I did buy some Chow Goo bamboos, and I'll show you those in a minute in the next project, but their cable swivels inside the wood, and that's slick. I wish these did that because they just end up with like the cable wonky sideways unfunness. So that's those for Diane. Put them back in their little bag. This one lives in my wee ones bag with the dogs on it, and apparently the dog hair. I drove up to the mill yesterday, and I'll tell you about that in a little Maddfuzzy update, but Zeke went with me. Nobody else could go. It was a freaking Monday afternoon. Nobody else could go. So I stole a dog, and we had a glorious time. I think he thought I was going to leave him in like the Maine wilderness. He was not happy until we got back home. Like he was cool like the first couple hours, like, where are we going? And then he was like, we've gone too far. Are we going back yet? He was very happy to be home last night. So let's move on. Let's do, oh, here's a good work in progress. This is not sock related. We've now segmented. Womp, womp, womp. We have now left the sock portion of this episode, and we're now into Sweater City. Sweater City. So let's see. Last time you saw the Riverside pullover here. It had needles. I have since, we'll just turn it upside down because it's long, finished the pattern and bound off. I did an invisible sewn bind off. I really like that bind off. I got introduced to it by Emily, who I recommended in my last episode. She is from Maine with Love. I think it's a golden retriever hair. And I really do like the invisible sewn bind off. Let's see if we can get a good shot of this here. So there's the right side. And you do it with a needle, and it's really easy to get the rhythm of. There's a good video by Interweave on YouTube on how to do it. The only problem is, and I believe the pattern did not tell me to go down in needle size. It didn't. So I didn't. And in hindsight, I probably should have. But we knew this sweater was going to have its issues. So I don't even know how to show you this, but it kind of goes in. But the whole shaping of this sweater, I don't know. It's like very apparent, the shaping. You can see where it like comes out. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see after we block it how it fits. This may be given to someone who's just a little bit bigger than I am in both the chest and the butt, because I think somebody with a nicer pear shape than I am would look really good in this sweater, because it would just fall right below the tuchus and it would hug and everything. So yeah, it's my first sweater. I was not expecting the fit to be anywhere on. I'm just learning about myself as a knitter and my gauge, and it was free yarn, and I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to see what's going to happen. I've had so much fun doing it. I'm going to finish the sweater, of course. Cast on the sleeves here fairly soon. I think I've located the needle I need. I've had a small, like, where did I do with the, because I cast on with a smaller needle. It exists. I purchased it for this project. So where did I put it? So, yeah, that's the Riverside cardigan. We'll see how it looks. Next is picking up the neckline and then the sleeves. But I'm pretty excited about actually having something I can like hold in my hands, like, look, it's a sweater. And people are like, actually, that is a sweater. Yeah. It was kind of a weird looking thing before. All right, for my last work in progress, I been looking for the perfect baby sweater pattern. My friend Alex recently had a baby, and she is just so stylish and beautiful, and always showed me these pictures of all these children in tiny Norwegian sweaters, you know, with the color work yoke and everything. And she was like, someday I will have a kid and I will dress them up like this and we'll take pictures. So I guess I have to make the Norwegian style sweater. So this is the Bohem. This is how you spell it. I have no idea how to pronounce it. There is an adult version. This is the baby version. I just saw the adult version. I was like, maybe I will make myself one as well because it's gorgeous. If I can, I'll insert a picture. But it's a bottom-up sweater, so I did the bottom. Now, this is for a girl, but I had this. This is String Theory, and I believe it's her Casper sock base, so it has a cashmere content, and I was never going... I'm sorry, it's so blown out. Let's see if I can get a better light here. There we go. That's actually what it's supposed to be. That's more accurate. But it wants to blow it way out, and then it wants to blow me out. So I told you it was all natural today. So this is the Casper sock, and it's got cashmere. So I was never going to make it into socks. I was kind of thinking maybe I'll make it into a colorwork cowl for me. And so I just jumped off the shelf as a baby sweater for this friend, who is very stylish and will take great care of it. So bring on the cashmere. So this is the body, and you knit the body, and then you knit one sleeve, two sleeves, and then join into the colorwork yoke, which I'm very excited to get to. Not sure I'm in love with bottom-up sweaters yet, but I have kept going because I really want to knit the yoke. So I have this, and this is those Chow bamboos I was talking about, and they swivel. I'm really liking it. I don't know, maybe I hadn't given wooden needles enough of a chance. I really enjoyed this, and when we were sitting in the car and driving for like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, I just do on this and stare out the window. This is the perfect project for the car. And when I got back, I moved over to DPNs. I haven't done those in a while. I definitely throw the needle when I'm at the end of the row because I'm so used to it being attached. But I am slowly working on a wee little sleeve. Oh, it's so cute. So I'm doing the increases for the sleeve. And I'll attach that, and I'll put this on waste yarn and get the other one, and we'll get it all together. So, yeah. That's what I've been knitting on. I am going to give you a little Maddfuzzy update, because you haven't heard about Maddfuzzy in a little while. As I was saying at the start of the episode, I did get into Fiber Frolic. Yes, that's going to be June 1st and 2nd at the Windsor Fairgrounds here in Maine. If you can make it, I'll be there vending. I'm so excited. Oh, it's my first 2-day event. And luckily it's close enough that I don't really have to, I can go home every night. But so excited. I also went ahead and went to Fuzzy Udder the day after I got back pretty much. Because while I was in Montana, they had their shearing. And so all that fiber was sitting there waiting for me to get my ducks in a row and get down there and to get it skirted. So I went down and I skirted, and it just happened to be like a kid hugging day, goat snuggling day. They had 100 babies between the lambs and the kids. Just, oh, so many babies. And if you stick around at the end of the episode, there's going to be a whole baby lamb photo montage. So, yeah, it's worth it. Stick around to the end. So I got all that fiber, loaded it up, came back here. Yesterday I was going to go to the mill. I pull out in the new Chevy Tahoe I drove out from Montana so that I could take 100 pounds of fiber up to the mill, and the oil pressure on the Chevy is not good. It's just dropping every time I step on the gas. Luckily, I was 20 feet outside the driveway, so I just turned around, went back in, called the tow truck. Diane, the most amazing woman ever, let me borrow her big old diesel truck. Yeah, I was having fun. And her dog. And me and Mr. Zeke, we rode all the way up to the mill and dropped off all this fiber. Talked to Andy a little bit about buying some used equipment off of people he knows, letting him know that I am interested in purchasing equipment. I have kind of got some money figured out, so I am actually looking, which is exciting. And I have a place to put it, which is also exciting. So I might be seeing Maddfuzzy actually being a mill in the next year. So that's really, really exciting. Yeah, so it's up at the mill. He says he hopefully will get it to me by Fiber Frolic. I may be spending the 2 weeks before Fiber Frolic, like, on vacation from the farm doing nothing but dyeing yarn, but it's happened before, and Diane is my super magic reskeiner, so between her and me and no sleep, I'll probably get it done. We should be good. Yeah, so fiber's at the mill. I brought up a whole bunch of BFL and make a bunch of that DK again. I brought up a whole bunch of East Frisian. So we'll have, you know, my 2 favorite bases. I might keep trying some new things, but those are going to be really like my main workhorse yarns there. I love them. Well, yeah, that's where Maddfuzzy's at. If you ever are interested, I didn't say this at the top of the episode, all of my show notes are down below in the description bar, and there's a link to my shop there if you're interested. go on over, check out the shop. It's fully stocked. There's lots there. I will be putting up a little bit more, I think, in the near future. I'll do a podcast episode before I put that up so you can see what I'll be doing. I'm also hopefully going to be getting an e-newsletter together, so keep an eye out for a way to sign up for that. I might give a little incentive, like a discount code for people who do. So new and exciting things happening for Maddfuzzy coming up here in the next year. Well, that is kind of concluding the Maddfuzzy section. Let's segue into a bit of a haul. I am so excited about this. You're only on vacation once, right? And some very cool things happened. I had a chance to meet not only Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I went up to Great Falls, Montana and met her and went to her dye studio on her open studio day. She was really about Maddfuzzy. She has local bases, by the way. I'm thinking of putting a list together of people who dye on local bases. So if you know any dyers who are, dyeing on local, or you are a dyer who is dyeing on a local base, it's some of you out there. I may actually have some of your yarn on the shelf. Let me know. Let's start a list. Let's make people aware of the people who are trying to source locally. Just a little resource. Something we can maybe get going as a group. So, shoot, what was I talking about? Oh boy. So Farmer's Daughter Fiber, she was all about it. I talked to her about maybe purchasing yarn if I got my mill up and running, and she was great. But we ended up bartering. You know me, I love to barter. We bartered, and I gave her 2 skeins, and she gave me 2 skeins. So I may have bought the 3rd skein needed to make a sweater and had a great time. So I'm going to show you that yarn. So, where's the 3rd one? Because they're all so wonderfully unique. I am going to alternate these in the sweater. I've decided I'm going to do the pavement sweater. I've been looking at that forever. I really love the like split hem on it. And I think this would be a gorgeous pavement. So this is on her FDF sock, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. And this is the colorway Fancy Dancing. I know, right? How could I not? There's like hot pink and purple. So it's kind of got this cream. This is blowing it out. It is not this white. It's a kind of a dirty cream. Let's see if we can get a little closer and have it go a little more true. But look at that one on the end. So this is Fancy Dancer. I got all 3 of these for a pavement sweater. I am so excited. So that was how I kicked off, shamelessly buying yarn in Montana. Yeah. And I'm going to just put these all on my shelf here, and it's going to fill that all in. Oh, I'm so excited. I have a little stash going. This was serious fat stashing. Fat stashing. Wow. The yarn fumes are getting to me. So let's see. Oh, no. Oh, here, I'm going to talk about this as well. So this is actually something I purchased before I left for Montana. But I saw them on Etsy, and I actually stalked her, Etsy update. I set an alarm. I was at the farmer's market, on my phone, quick ordering between customers, because Simply Serving put up a little promo on Instagram about how she was going to have bread and butter pickles, and they were so cute. So I bought one. Oh, yeah. Oh, can we get this? And they're just tiny little bread and butter pickle jars. They've got these little pickles inside. Oh, this camera hates this right now. It's like, what are you doing to me, Marta? Yeah, but those are so cute. And I bought 2 of them. So I have, one for me, and I have maybe one for a prize. So I'm going to stash that away. I couldn't say no. They're so freaking cute. But that was something I bought before and came before I left and never got a chance to show you. But oh my God, are those not the cutest things? You'll be seeing them on some projects. So, and maybe in a future giveaway. So after we did Farmer's Daughter, I I got a little crazy and decided, how do I say this? So my friend who I was driving back with, she works for a window maker here in Maine, and the window business is not booming in the winter. And so every month for like the spring, they lay them off for a week. And they always had, we had planned it, that it was going to be on one of these weeks, but they were saying they weren't going to shut down. And like 2 days before we left, they're like, we're shutting down. Everyone has this week off. So we decided, instead of driving like crazy people all the way back to Maine to make it back for her day at work, we decided we're going to go leisurely down through Kentucky and see her dad and make a slight detour in the process to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And you may say, well, what is in Fort Wayne, Indiana? Simply Socks Yarn Company? Ever heard of a little store called that? Oh, and I don't know, Ms. Chevy Rell? Yeah. I met Chevy. I did it. Oh my goodness. It was like the highlight of the trip. The highlight of the trip. I sometimes go to bed and like look at the picture on my phone and be like, I can't believe I met Chevy. She's everything I ever hoped and more. Like, I look like a complete goon the entire time. I had been in a car all day, clearly on vacation for 2 weeks, and there was Chevy. It was awesome. It was awesome. And she was wearing one of the sweaters like that she had knit, so it was like seeing the knit in the wild and like, oh my goodness. Yeah. That was a highlight. That was like a life highlight. Chevy, thank you. That was awesome. I know I sound like a complete goon, but I think you're really cool. All right, back to the Simply Socks Yarn Company. Because not only am I like seeing Chevy, and we're wandering through this store of like 7,000 pounds of like yarn, like sock yarn everywhere. And I just went a little nuts. So the first thing I got from a company I've never heard of is Snitches. Any of you have ever heard of Snitches? This is a self-striping sock yarn. And it's fun. So we got that one. This one is called Ziggy Plays Guitar. And it's a superwash merino nylon. Who would have thought? Alright. Then I bought this little socky set from Turtle Pearl Yarns, which I have heard about and lusted after. Another fabulous self-striper. And it's glittery as well. You know me. It's from her Glitter and Stripes collection. So that was fun. And then I bought a skein of hedgehog. Because I've never. And it was so bright and so awesome. I could not stop myself. So yeah, I am now a proud owner of hedgehog fibers. What I'm going to do with it, who knows? Alright, so then I was standing around and I was chatting, and they were talking about how they wanted to do some kind of like internet blast to tell people that West Yorkshire Spinners Fairy Lights was back and whatnot, and I just, and I go, you wouldn't happen to have a ball of that for sale today, would you? And they go, well, and I mean, I'm there holding all this yarn, and I'm like, please? Ta-da! I have a ball of it. So this is going to be my Christmas socks for this year. I wanted one of these so bad. I saw it on the Skeindeer Knits podcast, and she had knit them up, and I just knew I had to have it. You know, it's pretty cool. The pattern is a cool one for sure. So I bought myself this. Yes. And then, let's see. Sorry. rest of it out here. And I knew I wanted to have a sweater quantity. And so I'm on Ravelry looking through. And I picked these 3 out. This is going to be my main color. This is spun right round. Oh, sorry. Let me be a good person and put them all the same way. This is spun right round in their Filthy Animals color. And so it's, again, speckly and fun and pinks and whatnot, right? And I think I am going to do, is it Spilia by Caitlin Hunter? A colorwork one with the really cool yoke. Spilia, I think it is. And so for my contrast color, I'm going to use this Madeline Tosh. It's a single ply, and it is a kind of a copper stellina. Here. So it's a copper stellina. So there'll be not only contrast in yarn type, so double 2-ply sock yarn versus the single ply, but I think it will look so freaking cool. And the rose kind of copper sparkle will pick up the kind of pink hues in this. So yeah, I got 2 really nice sweater quantities on this trip for me to enjoy and play with, and yeah, do some really cool sweaters out of that I've been lusting after for a while. And it was a perfect excuse to buy more yarn than I should have, because I was on vacation. So that is all my vacation yarn though, guys. I promise you that. I feel like this was like a festival worthy haul. I'm really excited. I have one last acquisition. While I was at the Seattle airport, I did a double take because I saw this just sitting there with a whole bunch of other ones. And this is it's not, I don't think, supposed to be a knitting bag. It's done by, here's the company, Chalio. And my focus today is not loving me. Sorry, guys. But it's like a waterproof material, like a makeup bag. But it's got like this fun guy on it. He's got Sasquatch and this inquisitive squirrel. This very judgmental eagle over here. So I got a new sweater quantity bag. It's just got regular fabric on the inside. But yeah, I got a new knitting bag just in the airport. We're gonna go to Seattle. Trendy. Oh, yeah, that was that. That was a lot of fun. This also concludes my knitting content in totals for this whole episode. I've talked about all my acquisitions, all my projects. All that's left is to tell you a little bit more about my trip to Montana. So if you are not interested in how amazing my trip was, thanks. It was good seeing you. I'll see you soon. Happy knitting. If you're sticking around, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Not too much. We're getting up to like 45 minutes of a podcast here, and I do like to keep them short and sweet and to the point. But it was an amazing trip. Holy cow, was it nice. We went to 5 different hot springs. I saw all of my friends. The girl I went with, Brittany, who is my best friend, we didn't have one like little tiff, you know. We were in a car for a week together, every single day. We were together every single second of every day for 2 weeks, and we never once even stepped on each other's nerves. It was the easiest trip ever. It was carefree. It was fun. It was so nice to see my friends. It was so nice to see my family. We had just this scary timing. Like, everywhere we went 2 days prior, there had been a storm. And when we leave there had been a storm. So, like, we're constantly ahead or behind something, and nothing ever got messed up. Nothing was ever delayed. We would not rush. But when we get somewhere, it was the perfect time to get there. There'd be nobody else there, or, you know, it was just people had been there, but they had just left. So one of my favorite hot springs we did, so we ended up doing quite a few. The first night we flew into Seattle and spent 24 hours in Seattle. We walked all over Seattle. If you know Seattle, we were all the way down in the pier, and then we walked all the way up to Capitol Hill. We kind of did the city. And then the next day we flew into Helena, Montana. And then that next day we drove to Lolo, Montana. I went to Lolo Hot Springs, which was kind of rowdy. Their outside pool was -10 when we were there. And the outside pool really couldn't heat itself out there. So the inside pool was warm, but that meant all the kids and all the families were inside in the hot tub. And the next day they were going to have this like stripper night. It's Montana. And they were going to have like oil wrestling. And I kid you not, there was a poster. And these girls are on the poster. And these girls are also rather hammered in the hot tub with their kids. I felt bad for some of the kids. There was a kid there who had been there like in this hot tub for 3 hours. Like we had gotten hot, left and went back to the cabin we had rented, had a few drinks, and when we came back to kind of do our last soak before the night, that kid was still in there and looking a little tired. So don't leave your children in hot water. They usually have warnings for that, but oh well. They did leave before we ended up leaving, so don't worry, the kid did go home. As far as I know, they were all right, but in my personal opinion, that's a little bit of a long time to have a kid in a hot tub. It's a little bit of a long time to have me in a hot tub. So we did that, and then the next day, we woke up with the cabin. So my friend is dating some guy that, like, he's a VIP of that area, and he knew the guy who owned the hot springs, so we got these cabins and this continental breakfast, which was really nice, and all the soaks we could want, and it was great. So we get up, we have breakfast, and we decide we're not going to go soak again. We're just going to head straight up Lolo Pass to Idaho, and we're going to get in the hot springs there, Jerry Johnson, and then we'll go home instead of soaking twice. So we get there, and it's about a 1.5 mile hike in. So we're hiking on this path. We brought a dog. She was so well behaved. Her name was Baby Girl, and she was so cute. She was like an Aussie Shepherd Border Collie mix thingy. Cutest. And we get in, and we have this huge tub to ourselves, and I'll insert a picture here. And we're sitting up there, and we're overlooking all this beautiful scenery. Nobody there for like 2 hours. And all of a sudden, like, a party comes up, and they keep going, and another one, and they're starting to get in the hot tubs around us, because there's several pools up there. We just got into this one. And they start filling up, and we're like, yeah, maybe we should leave. So we get out, and we just kept passing, like, party after party after party. Like, 2 people, 4 people, 6 people, all the way down the trail. When we got there, there were 2 cars in the parking lot. When we left there, there was 11. That's the kind of timing. Like, we didn't plan to be there at a certain hour. We just kind of went with the flow, had a leisurely breakfast, and everything just seemed to work out. And that was, like, how that whole trip went. There was never any stress. There was no problems. It was good. I can't complain. I had a wonderful freaking vacation. And now I'm back. I get back to work, and I get to work, and there is no cheese anywhere. She had sold pretty much everything I had made her before I left. So I had a long week of a lot of cheese making, a lot of mixing, a lot of hustling so you could get orders out in a timely fashion, and nothing was going right. So I was glad that, I had the weekend. And by weekend, I mean Monday, Tuesday, because today is Tuesday, April 2nd. I'm not getting this up today. I think I'm going to record it, let it upload, and then sit around and knit a little bit, have a little fun. I sort of went out this weekend. I went to a couple bars and had a girls' night. I don't know. I'm enjoying my new single life. It's not so bad. I didn't realize how much I missed being able to just do what I wanted to do. There's no one else to check in with. And I'm enjoying it. This vacation was actually one of the first vacations I actually truly got to enjoy. And that says a lot about where I am and where I'm going in my future. So I'm doing all right. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say goodbye to all you wonderful and happy people. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments and whatnot. If you did enjoy this video, please do subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Hit that thumbs up button. It's been fantastic talking with you. I've talked a lot, but there was a lot to talk about. And I'm really excited to be back. And I can't wait to get this up and to say hi to all of you. So I hope you're having a good day. I hope you have a great week. And as always, enjoy your knitting. Bye.